Welcome back to Smartland's Get to Know podcast series. Today we're joined by Bridget Hambleton.
Hello.
Thank you for joining the podcast today, Bridget.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Now, Bridget, what is it that you specifically do here for Smartland and all the Smartland real estate ventures?
What I'm supposed to be doing is leasing. I lease out as many properties as they'll allow me to go to, but I also do a bunch of other things. I've done some construction. I do clean outs. I do pretty much whatever I can get my hands on. Nice.
Okay. Is Smartland the first real estate company that you've worked for throughout your career, or has this been a lineage of real estate opportunities that made you stumble upon Smartland?
Well, back in 2012, I was living in North Carolina, and I had joined a investors group, Fortune Builders. So I was thinking about flipping for a long time, and I have a construction company. So they got it, just kind of played together. And my mom was a realtor. So then in 2018, I made the decision to get my real estate license. And I did. And then I was with two other companies. And then I started focusing on the construction company full time. And my husband ticked me off. So I found Smartland. And I've been here for going on 2 years in July.
Nice. So leasing was originally your main purpose for joining Smartland?
Yes, it's my primary function here.
Okay, so what is that consume most of your day-to-day?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
yes,
so walk me through that process, like from the second you walk into the office to...
From the second I actually about an hour before I walk into the office, my phone starts ringing.
Okay.
So I take all the phone calls I can, and then I'll get to the office, and usually my day is quite packed with showings and viewings for people that want to find a new home.
And this is down at the Hall of Fame Apartments in Canton?
One of the places. About back in September, well, it might have been the end of August, I'd completely filled up the Hall of Fame. So I had no more apartments to lease. So then I reached out to Vadim and asked him if I could travel, because I needed to stay busy and I needed to make money. And he said, absolutely. So I started coming to Cleveland 4 days a week, and I do the Colony, I do 131, and I do Parkwood, and I was doing Lee Mustang for a little bit too, but Lee Mustang is full. That happens to be my favorite thing, is fill them up, put myself out of work. Hence why I do other things too. And then, we just recently hired another leasing agent. So I'm going back to the Hall of Fame because we just had a bunch of units remodeled. So now I'm trying to kick that in the butt.
Okay, nice. All right. So do you have any SFR or single family homes that you deal with when it comes to leasing, or is your responsibility all multifamily?
Mine's all apartments, but I do, as a realtor, I do buy and sell properties a few times a year too.
So walk me through that. How long have you been doing that for?
Since about 2018. I did, prior to having my real estate license, I did help investors find properties that they wanted to buy. But primarily since I've had my license, it's been since 2018.
And have you been the main investor in this venture?
Yes.
Okay, so how many have you done total?
Total, I've done about 25.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, what goes into that process of you being able to, analyze it, monetarily and
the
financials
ARV,
that go into it?
You have to find homes that need some TLC. I like to help people. That's one of my primary functions. If I find somebody that's in over their head on a home, about to lose it, go into foreclosure, I'll go in and I'll see if I can get them out of the situation. We both win. They move on and get out from underneath that stress, and I turn their home and make it somebody's dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic. What has been the hardest part of doing that? Do you place a tenant for rent before you sell? Or
I try.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sell it as a rental property?
Yes. Yes. To an investor. I work with all investors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are these investors mostly in state? Or
no, they're all over the country.
All over the country. So how do you manage that? Do you have a management company too?
My construction company takes care of all of them.
Okay.
When it out comes of state,
property management also?
Yes. Oh. Out of state, I have other companies handle them, but anything I have in state, we take care of.
Nice. So outside of Ohio, what other markets do you look at?
California, Tennessee. Did dabble in Indiana for a little bit, but don't really like the market up there. But so primarily, I'd say, the West Coast.
What's so attractive about the West compared to little old Ohio?
Honestly, the investors. There is a lot of money in the West Coast. Being part of Fortune Builder allows me to meet a lot of people that I normally wouldn't have access to. So it just works out that that's where a lot of their business is. So it helps me.
So is Fortune Builder more of the intermediary between you and the investor?
It's a group of, I'd say, probably 50,000 investors now, if not more. And we all work with each other to make sure we all succeed. Fantastic.
So do they have like conventions?
Yes.
Okay. When did this whole company start?
They started in 2010, I believe, but I joined them in 2012.
And how were you introduced to them?
Actually, it was of course I blank out. It was we'd purchased some tickets to go to one of their presentations that they were putting on, and it was a weekend presentation. We'd went down to Florida to be a part of that and met a lot of great people. Than Merrill is one of the gentlemen that leads the company. He's the owner of the company. He was a pro football player way back in the day, and he had a group of friends, and they all joined together, and they started flipping homes, and then they turned it into a billion-dollar company by bringing in and teaching other people how to invest, and they gave us all the paperwork, everything we needed to be able to succeed.
So does this, legal, the marketing, property management tips, things like that?
Everything you need to have a successful business.
When you were just starting out, what part of this whole venture intimidated you the most?
The money factor, because I am a control freak, so I think I have to do everything. And
I understand that one.
And their biggest thing that they preach is other people's money. So it was an adjustment for me to get that 30-second elevator pitch down, which I haven't done in years now. I don't have to. But that was the most uncomfortable part for me because I think I should be able to do it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you ever had to evict a tenant that you placed into?
Yes, I have, but I really try not to. I just don't like hurting people. That's probably my weakness at the same time. But it's also one of my biggest strengths. That's why I'm such a good leasing agent.
One of the biggest downfalls of working in real estate, I feel like, is having to deliver the bad news if someone doesn't hold up, their end of the bargain. So what were those things that you did to work with people before they were, necessarily kicked out?
Well, when I go in and I go over their complete history and what they need and how far behind they are, and I reach out to the mortgage companies and see if I can, make a deal. Subject to is a great way to buy properties if you're just starting out. Mm-hmm. So when I started out, I did a lot of subject twos. But, people just really want an understanding ear. They just want somebody that gets what they're going through. And I can go sit in a room with somebody and 5 minutes in, I probably know their whole life story. It's because they feel comfortable with me. So my goal is to make sure everybody's happy. So I will most times offer them a buyout to help them move. So I'll get them a rental truck. I'll pay their first month's rent, security deposit, and give them a little cash so they've got some food. Okay. So, and that tends to make a lot of people happy.
Yeah. And then they get out quicker and you're able to refill
and leave it in a lot better shape.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because if you break on bad terms, you never know what you're going to walk into once they finally move out.
My apartments, they're the same. They're the same. When most of my tenants leave, They are pristine and need very little work.
Now that you've had so much experience, whether it's been on your own for your own venture and now working at Smartland, is there a difference between the two that you found?
Working at Smartland actually brings me a lot of enjoyment. It's a great company atmosphere, family atmosphere. It's like I tell my prospects, I started working here almost 2 years ago, and that's the reason I'm still here, is the type of people I'm working for. They actually care. They listen to me. There's a problem. They help me get it resolved. In my opinion, it's one of the best rental real estate companies out there.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. That's what we strive for.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about things like maintenance.
Yes.
What is the main issue that you deal with?
Really, when I first started in Canton, the gentleman that did the remodels also did the maintenance. And to be quite honest, every time I asked him to do something maintenance-wise, it would get pushed off. So because he wasn't making money in maintenance, he made money in remodeling. Mm-hmm. So I would do it myself. So then it come to a point where he had to go, because if you don't keep your tenants happy, there's kind of no point. So he left, and they hired in my current maintenance guy in Canton, who is phenomenal. All my tenants love him. They will rave about him to me. My running joke is because he speaks with everybody through an app. So he doesn't speak very good English. His famous 2 words to me are, no problem, big problem. So when he says big problem, I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go.
You're able to gauge the seriousness of the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. But he's always quick to respond. He doesn't let maintenance requests sit. And the tenants are always happy.
That's great. Where is he originally from?
Georgianian.
Yes, okay.
He speaks fluent Russian. Not much Ukrainian, but yeah.
So how long have you two been working together now?
He started, I'm actually trying to remember, because I started in July. I believe that about 6 months later, they had let go of the one gentleman that wasn't fulfilling his end of the obligation, and they hired Eric. Eric actually did some work for the gentleman that they let go, and that's it. It took a couple weeks for me to get down how to talk to him so we understood each other, but yeah, he's phenomenal.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So outside of your 4 days a week that you're in Cleveland, the rest of your time is mostly spent in Canton?
Yeah, that's actually been switched up now.
Okay.
Currently, I am in Cleveland half a day on Wednesday and all day Fridays. I would only be up here Fridays, but I'm kind of chronic. When somebody calls and they want to see either the colony or 131, and they've called me, I'm, again, a control freak, so I'll make an appointment and make sure I get them in there.
Absolutely. Is there a difference in operations that you've noticed between Cleveland and Canton?
Yes. As far as, well, I can't say enough about Steven's dad, Eric. Mm-hmm. Anytime I've needed a unit, that man has produced. Okay. I take them before they're even done a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So he's never let me down. When I meet with prospects, the confidence that gives me to be able to let them know that the home they need when they need it will most definitely be done is a surety factor that they all seem to love and appreciate. The hardest thing here, I think, is the maintenance, and not because the guys aren't rock stars. They are, but there's so many apartments, and we're working on getting more maintenance, of course. But it gets a little overwhelming sometimes when I can't just fix it right now.
Right.
So that's the hardest part for me, because my desire is to make the tenant happy, because if you have a happy tenant, then you're going to have the longevity that we want.
Absolutely. So Canton probably is going through one of the bigger public investments that they've ever had recently, with over 9 figures being invested into the Hall of Fame Village.
Right.
Have you seen any effect from that yet? when it comes to rents or increase in leases or people moving to Canton?
For a while, I was getting a lot of military coming in. So my apartments at the Hall of Fame were predominantly military, and not just one branch. We're talking Marines, Navy, Air Force, Army. I do get a lot of teachers there, which is really cool to see because the schools are all phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Like 3 of my buildings are in Canton schools, and then my one building that sits up on the hill behind that's part of the Hall of Fame is actually Plain Township.
So different school district just by living on top of the hill.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I do see an influx. I get a lot of phone calls of people that are moving into the area. So yeah.
So this is actually really interesting when it comes to families leasing at the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
They might not be aware that if you're located in this building, your child will be going to this school. Meanwhile, if you're located down the hill in a different building, you'll be going to another school. Do they usually know that coming in?
A lot of people do not. I have had a few people specifically call and request Plain, which is nice because I have that ability. Mm-hmm.
So when is it weighted more of you having to inform them, hey, like you need to live up here?
Yes, and it is it's a conversation I have with my tenants because if they have their child in a certain school district and they're looking at the Hall of Fame thinking it is that school district, I want to make sure that they know that if I have one in Plain, it's Plain. If I have Canton, I have Canton. Absolutely.
Does that come with a rent premium?
I make jokes about rent premiums all the time.
Yeah. I think we should. I think we should charge a little bit more a month for the better school district.
I totally agree. No. Yeah. My one apartment building that I do, the Colony, my running in Shaker Heights, my running joke with that is we don't have AC there. They're allowed to put their own in, but we don't have it there because of the circumstances, the age of the building.
Absolutely.
They're all completely remodeled.
1940s building.
Right, right. So they'll come in and they'll be like, "Oh, you don't have no AC." I'm like, "No, but if I did, I could charge a lot more." So I would buy a cheaper window unit that's not going to cost you as much and enjoy the apartment.
Yeah.
And it works every time. They love it.
Have you seen the same standard of renovation between the properties in Canton and the properties in Cleveland?
Absolutely. Okay. Our renovation crews are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They do a damn good job. Like I said, anybody that walks into our apartments absolutely loves them.
Good. I mean, do we still have any classics down there? Or
we do have a couple. But not many left now.
Are those rates naturally been able to rise just because of the surrounding units in the property that have like so much higher rents that we're still able to bring those classic units up?
The problem with the classic units are that they have what we classify as legacy tenants in them, tenants that have been there before we've even purchased the units. So they do rise slowly, but they're not as quickly as our renovated units. I have one lady that's lived in the Hall of Fame for 50 years.
50 years?
50 years.
How old is she?
Ooh, she's got to be about 76.
Okay, so she didn't grow up there, but she moved there.
Her and her husband
as a young adult.
Yes. And I had looked at her the one day and I'm like, "Why have you never moved? Why have you never bought another home?" She goes, "This place has always had everything I needed."
That's
Boom.
good.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
We love long-term tenants.
Yes, we do. We'll take them.
That's great. Does everybody know who she is?
Oh, yes. I mean, and she's a little on the crabbier side because she's an older lady, but you never forget when you make them smile for the first time. And she actually gave Eric a hug, which if you knew this lady, not in a million years would you think that would happen, but that was pretty cool.
Has she, would she allow a renovation to go down at her?
Honestly, I would think not.
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
Even there's no interest in moving to another unit. Or,
no, but if you walk in her unit, for it being as old as it is, in my opinion, it is so pristine. She has taken great care. It's like walking into the 70s in great shape.
Has she ever said anything like, have her cabinets ever been replaced or?
No, and we haven't even had to replace her refrigerator or stove yet. She did ask me, though that's how she is though. If I need this, will you do it? If I need that, will you do it? Yes, ma'am, absolutely, we will take care of you.
Yes. I love to hear that. Any other markets in Ohio or around Canton, submarket wise, that pique your interest that are within driving distance from Hall of Fame? At least in Stark County. Because it's hard. I mean, Canton is not, it's definitely past its peak as a economical hub.
Right.
Or economic hub. But, there's still a large renting population down there.
Yes.
And there's still some really good school districts.
Yes.
So are there, sections within Canton or Stark County that you would still be motivated to invest in?
Avondale area is nice. I mean, the biggest pitch for Canton is that it is central hub I get a lot of tenants that come down from Akron because they don't want the hustle and bustle of Akron, so they move to Canton. I have a gentleman that went and seen the apartments in Shaker Heights and come and seen the ones in Canton, and he wants the ones in Canton. The drive is 45 minutes either way. But it's just it's a calmer, quieter area than the hustle and bustle of Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's going to come back up. Once the Hall of Fame's done, once the water park's done, once the hotel's done. I mean, the Hall of Fame Village, if you drive through it, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's still, I feel like, another 5 years before
probably
we see the true effects.
They had some issues with their management companies and, the people that they would hire in. The person they have in now, though, has made the biggest difference, and it's just amazing. I mean, we get people in Canton, you get people from all over the country coming in for the Hall of Fame games. It's just amazing.
Well,
Hall of Fame week is crazy.
And they do have the infrastructure to host those big events, whether it's youth soccer tournaments or football tournaments or like flag football.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
The Hall of Fame game every year.
Yes.
So I think it will be an economy that's stimulated by whatever that
absolutely
project brings in, but I just don't know about the residents of Canton. Is it how many jobs is it really going to create?
You know what? I have had a lot of people come and look for apartments there that are from other countries.
Okay.
So it's amazing. I think that, like you said, about 5 years from now, it's going to give other cities a run for its money.
Good. Now, who's Bridget outside of work?
Oh. Bridget works a lot.
Yeah.
So even when I'm not working for Smartland in the evenings and stuff, I do a lot of stuff for the construction company that I have too. Okay. So I am a mother of 5, a grandmother of 7, and my grandchildren rock. They're everything to me. So
that's a big family.
Yes.
That's a big Christmas dinner.
Oh, yes, it is. A lot of Christmas presents. Tell me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, is that what you enjoy the most? Or what do you enjoy the most about being a grandma?
Oh, man, spoiling the...
You don't have to be the bad guy anymore.
No, I make sure, well, I am to my kids. Because I will spoil them. I give them a little Mountain Dew and then send them home.
Oh, yeah.
That grandma, yes, I am.
Then they're like, what'd you give my child?
I bring them candy. If they want candy for breakfast, they can have candy for breakfast.
I love that. That's awesome.
So, my family.
Good.
Yeah. Good.
So, we know how hard you work. So, and we really appreciate that. We thank you for making Smartland what it is.
You guys, I wouldn't be here if I didn't love this company.
Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely do this some other time.
Awesome. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you for watching Smartland's Get to Know podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date to all things Smartland.